Now, if you were diligent in your testing, you should have noticed something. Our program checks each individual thing, item by item, in a while loop, which means it's possible to bypass that password verification if you've already passed the first check and then retype in something that's wrong. So I'll show you what I mean. So that first check is your character link. So if we enter for example, Bob, so username is going to be Bob, password is going to be Bob, well, we can see that the password is rejected, it's too short. So we can enter something like password, which is going to get rejected because it doesn't have a capital or a symbol. So if I pass it like this, for example, it passes the first check, the second check, but gets caught on the third one. So when I do the third one, I could then go back to my default password because that third, it's already passed the first and the second check. So it's only in that final while loop, it is only checking if it has a special character. So if I do Bob, you can see it then passes the third check, and we've now been allowing ourselves, from our password Bob as well, to enter a password that doesn't have a capital or 6 characters long. It's not what we want to do because we want to make sure that their password is at least a decent password. So what you're going to do is all the stuff that's inside these while loops, you're going to move into one single while loop. Now, the easiest way you do with that is you just create one final big Boolean value, and I'm going to call this one, say, all finished, and I'm going to mark that one as false. So we have our final while loop. We only have one while loop when we're done. So this will have everything for the password. And so we're going to run while all finished is false. So in that while loop, you're going to start to move all of your stuff. So you can just copy it and you can just paste it in, making sure that you get your indentation. So as you do each while loop, you can actually delete it. Now, to make it easier, we still need to have that final check that actually checks if it passes all the verification. So we can do that two ways. We can use a nested loop if statement, which is an if statement within an if statement. So we can check at the very, very end. So this will be the last statement. So you're going to want to move everything above it into that while loop as well. But for that last statement, you can then check if password finished equals true. And then you can also then check if password has capital equals true, because this if statement will only run if the one above it is true. And then, of course, final nested one is password. We didn't use a Boolean value, so we can just copy that condition right there. And we can put it there. So that final one. So if we've already done and we've checked if the password is finished is true, it'll then check if the password has a capital letter, which we'd have to make sure that we move this bit of code for this while loop. It would need to go in there. And this is where your comments are really handy. So that would be your second while loop. And then that one would only check then, of course, if your is alpha is true. So you need to move the content of your last while loop. That would also need to get checked. Or in this case, you might have to tweak this and do a little bit of testing and think logically if that should be false or true.